On today's episode, your 2016 Men's World's Toughest Mudder champion, Trevor Cichosz. This is the World's Toughest Podcast. Welcome to the World's Toughest Podcast, where we talk about any obstacle course race you'd like, as long as that's World's Toughest Mudder. Each week we talk to members of the WTM community and share stories of success and failure in the single greatest event in OCR. My name is Will Hicks, and this is the World's Toughest Podcast. Welcome back to World's Toughest Podcast. Thank you for listening. What do you think of Champions Week? Very excited about Champions Week. Before we start, you are listening to the number one rated OCR podcast in the world because of listeners like you. Thank you for listening and reviewing the show. Be sure you're subscribed to the show so the new episodes will show up straight in your phone instead of me having to find you on social media or Facebook or Telegram. I don't know. Telegram is now an app, but it used to be a messaging service back in the olden times. Your grandparents used it. Very excited about Champions Week. Today is Trevor Cichosz, our 2016 men's champion. Yesterday we had Stephanie Bishop, 2016 women's champion. We've had Ryan Atkins and Rhea Coble and Christopher Mendoza. And today, Trevor Cichosz. Tomorrow will be Amelia Boone, three-time women's champion. Between our 6 guests this week, we have 15 World's Toughest Mudder Championships represented. Very cool. Today we're talking with Trevor Cichosz. Trevor won World's Toughest Mudder in 2016 and has been on the podium every other year, every single year since 2014. If you are trying to guess who will be on the men's podium for World's Toughest Mudder, Cichosz is automatic. He hasn't missed a podium since 2014. He will be on the podium again, that barring catastrophe. He will be on the podium again this year, and maybe even on top of it again. Trevor Cichosz is the only elite that I have a bit of a rivalry with. Ryan Atkins' relay team beat my relay team last year, and I've run alongside Allison Ty at several races before she pulled away and narrowly beat me by 30 miles. But Cichosz and I have a little bit of a history from 2018. Last year, he ran a race from one end of Scotland to the other, 219 miles. He won the race. Then about 2 weeks later, he ran Toughest Mudder Berlin. Also running Toughest Mudder Berlin, this guy. So, World's Toughest Mudder champion and Run Across Scotland champion 2 weeks ago, Trevor Cichosz, versus fresh-legged Will Hicks. Who do you think won? I dominated him. 15 miles to 10 miles. And he took it like a man, but he said he'd see me at the next race and we'd see what happened then. And I'm not sure what the next race was, but it might have been Toughest Mudder NorCal. But we ran again, and he beat me handily. It's fine. But then we said, okay, so World's Toughest Mudder 2018 is the tiebreaker. World's Toughest Mudder 2018. Final results. Cichosz 100 miles. Will Hicks 35 miles. So, if you add up all the mileage from Toughest Mudder Berlin, and that's the second race, and World's Toughest Mudder, if you add up all those miles, the final score so far is 2-1. He's beating me. Now, I am looking forward to seeing him on the course in Atlanta. I'd still help him up, up a wall or give him a boost up Mudderhorn, even if we're competing. Before we start, you can email the show, willhicks@gmail.com. You can follow us on Instagram, Twitter, and Facebook by searching for World's Toughest Podcast. And you can be a part of the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts or Amazon. Let me give you an update on that. On Monday, we said, hey, we're trying to get to 150 reviews on the US Apple Podcast Store. And we passed that like Tuesday night. It was great. I said, if we get to 150, then I'll give away 10 sets of 2 stickers on Friday. We're already way past that. Here's what we're going to do. If you want stickers, leave a review on Apple Podcasts, if you haven't yet, or Amazon.com or .co.uk if you're in the UK. Or leave a review on Stitcher. Jason Dupree has led the way for you to leave a review on Stitcher. And every single review, new review from now till Friday night, we'll add 2 more stickers to the pile that I'm going to give away. And every time you leave a review, it'll enter you again. So you can enter up to 3 times. Once on Apple Podcasts, once on Amazon, once on Stitcher. And we're going to randomly give away as many stickers as we can beginning of next week. But do it by Friday. Speaking of iTunes reviews.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars.
5 stars. 5 stars.
Our first review comes from the U.S. Cody OCR writes, the voice of OCR. 5 stars. Will is the single greatest voice in OCR. Every episode is a must listen, even when talking about McDonald's pizza. I can't wait for World's Toughest Mudder. It is the pinnacle of my racing season every year. Cody, that's very kind. I want to come back to what you said about McDonald's pizza in a second. If I had to vote for best voice in OCR, I would vote for Sean Corvell, the start line MC for Tough Mudder. I have heard him give his start line speech at I don't know how many Tough Mudders and multiple World's Toughest Mudders, and I still get chills. The first time I heard him say, you don't finish at the finish line, you finish out there, and then you make it to the finish line. It gave me shivers. So thank you for the kind words, Cody, but I'm going to respectfully disagree that I believe Sean I'd vote for Sean. And let's talk about McDonald's pizza. I'm not sure what you mean about McDonald's pizza. Are you saying you want more McDonald's pizza talk? Because I think that's what you meant. I think that's what you're saying. So don't worry, Cody. Trevor and I are going to get into that in a minute. Our next review comes from the UK, Will Chung. Will Chung writes, everything you need to know about Tough Mudder, 5 stars. What a fantastic podcast, all about World's Toughest Mudder, Tough Mudder, and the people involved. Insightful, funny, and a great mix of guests, including the elites and weekend warriors. Whether you are a Legionnaire, new to Tough Mudder, or not even interested in World's Toughest Mudder, Will brings to life everything you need to know about the world of Tough Mudder. So much so, it's made me sign up for World's Toughest Mudder. Why are you still reading? Download the podcast now. Thank you, Will. I don't have power rankings of listeners, but if I did, Will Chung would be near the top. He is always sending me info on the courses in the UK. He is tagging us in his Instagram and Facebook stories, pictures. He will shoot me a random course map or a review on Facebook Messenger. He was also a guest back in season 1 a couple years ago. So, Will Chung, you make the show better, and I appreciate you. Thank you. Our last review comes from Innate Dennis. Innate Dennis writes, funny, uplifting, honest WTM talk. 5 stars. Will Hicks has something good going on here. This is my go-to potty for training. He writes potty like P-O-D-Y, not like potty. Weirdos. Stop thinking that. This is my go-to potty for training. I only wish Heinz, my Doberman training partner, could wear AirPods so that she could listen in. See you at Worlds this year, and not at a Spartan. Dr. DSW. Thank you, Dr. DSW. Dr. DSW, I would bet you $1.25 that someone somewhere is making doggy AirPods. Air pups. If they're not, they should be. Headbones. Headbones is better. If you start a company for dog headphones, you should call it they should call them Headbones. No charge for that. First one's free. Dr. DSW, I will look forward to seeing you in Atlanta. You can be a part of the show, like Dr. DSW, Will Chung, and Cody OCR, by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. Also, open the Purple Podcast app on your iPhone or iOS device, search for World's Toughest Podcast, click our logo, and then scroll down to click Write a Review. And I will read it on a future episode. You can do the same thing on Stitcher and on Amazon in your local country as well. Our guest today is Trevor Cichosz. Trevor has more individual podiums at World's Toughest Mudder than anyone else alive. Cichoz has been on the men's podium every single year since 2014, a 5-year streak that is still ongoing. Beginning in 2014, Cichoz has finished World's Toughest Mudder in 3rd place, 2nd place, 1st place, 3rd place, and then it's 2nd place in 2018. If that pattern holds up, Cichoz will claim his 2nd World's Toughest Mudder championship this November in Atlanta. It's time to talk with Trevor Cichosz. Let's go to the phones. Trevor Cichosz, thanks for joining the show.
Hey, thanks for having me.
Trevor, last year you ran 219 miles across Scotland. You won that race. You ran 100 miles at World's Toughest Mudder last year, 2018, finishing 2nd to Chris Mendoza. What are you doing this year?
This year I'll be running World's Toughest Mudder again. Going for a 100-mile bib again.
You've done pretty well at World's Toughest. What's your plan this year?
I get 100 miles again. I'm trying to get to 1,000. So
1,000 lifetime?
I do, the faster that'll come.
How many miles are you up to?
6 something, I think. Or no, close to 6.
Close to 600?
I've done the race 6 years now, and but I haven't reached 100 every year, so I'm a little bit below.
Have you seen the lifetime standings? You've got to be top 2 or 3, right?
Yeah, I think I'm one of the top ones. But I obviously missed 2 years of World's Toughest Mudder. So there's some people who have done it every single year that might be ahead of me. I'm not sure.
So you're running this year. The big change this year is there's no prize money. Has that changed the factor for you at all, or does that even matter?
Nah, it doesn't matter to me. I mean, I don't know if I cashed my check from last year. So
you haven't your 2nd place check.
I probably did. But I can't remember if I did. Like that doesn't even register in my mind. I don't care. Money is just a thing.
Did they mail you a check? Did they mail you a check, or was it direct deposit?
Usually mail it.
So what else have you been up to this year?
I did that race in the Himalayas. That was a big one. That sucked the life out of me.
Tell me about that.
It was a 135-mile race through the Himalayas in Nepal, reaching elevations from 6,000 feet to 18,000 feet. The average elevation on the entire race is 10,000 feet. So it was really high, and that altitude just sapped me.
How many miles was it?
I ended up doing 150, but I lost a bunch, so a little bit more. But I moved really slow. I think I maintained about a 2 mile per hour average. So, I mean, those mountains are tough.
How long did it take to do?
It took me 100 hours to finish. So I was moving pretty slow. But yeah, then I went to Australia and did the OCR World Champs for the 24-hour format down there. And that's been a bucket list race for a long time, but I've always been busy in June. So it was nice to finally make it down there. And I was really happy finishing 3rd, even though it was just a month after that Nepal race. So it was 2 big races, a month apart. So I didn't really have any expectations for myself going down there, just do it and participate in the race. And I was happy to get 3rd.
That's the 24-hour race that's associated with the OCR World Championships. What did you think of that race?
I loved it. It's totally different than the World, so there's a lot of, the course is more empty of people and more spread out. So it's a 7-mile lap, and then there's maybe 300 to 500 competitors, so you don't really see as much people. You're not getting wet all the time. The obstacles there's not as much production value in the obstacles as your Tough Mudder. But I like them. It was fun change of pace.
When you say there's not as much production value, do you mean they're just not as epic, or they're not as, are they easier or harder?
It's more like a Spartan style. Like, they're not, they don't build those giant scaffolding things of swinging trapeze bars and stuff like that. Like, it's like, hey, pick up the sandbag, go up the hill, come back down, climb this rope, go across the monkey bars. They had a rig. It was pretty easy, though. I think it was 4 rings and a rope.
Is that a race you'd go back to, or is it a one-time thing?
Yeah, I'd like to see if I can win it. So, I wanted to go and see if I go head-to-head with Lachlan Danzy, the guy who's undefeated down there, but I didn't even see him the entire race. So, good. He did really well. He's definitely the champion down there. But I'd like to go back and see if I can race him again, but be a little more healthy. But I think he said he's done, so that won't come about.
Lachlan Danzy, some people call him the Ryan Atkins of Australia. We've been hoping to get him over for World's Toughest, but it hasn't happened yet.
No, he came in 2015, but I think he had problems with diet, so he pulled out. I think he had diarrhea.
You told me once that your approach is you don't really race the other racers, you race the course. Is that still how you feel?
Exactly, yeah. So I'm still going to go out there and try to get 100 miles. I mean, even if, say, I'm winning, I'm 20 miles ahead of the next guy, I'm still going to keep pushing just as hard to get 100 miles on the course. So it doesn't matter. But, yeah, I don't know who's coming. I haven't really talked to much people. I know Atkins is probably going back to Spartans. I think they're doing that big prize money thing again, but you don't know. I don't know what they're doing. So I know Wesley Kerr will be running solo again. He usually does pretty good. But,
I think kind of like Aaron Rost on the women's side last year kind of was a surprise. I think there's going to be 1 or 2 men that surprise us just because we haven't, heard, maybe they've been finishing 6th or 7th before, but we haven't heard their names, and then so they'll have a chance to bump up this year.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, yeah, people make big jumps. Was it Chris Mendoza from 80 miles to 100 in 1 year, so I went from 75 to 90. So, I mean, people can make big jumps in a year of training. And Javier Escobar said he's going to give me a run for my money this year, so I hope he does. He's been training really hard.
You know what? Javier is one of those guys where he might make that jump. He did well last year. I think he finished 7th or 8th, and
yeah,
that'll be fun to watch.
Yeah, and then Joshua Reed, I know he did really well last year, and him and Javier ran that toughest together and got 60 miles as a team, which is incredible. So I don't know if Joshua Reed's coming, but he's another guy to look out for. Maybe one to reach out to.
Do you ever think about running as a team?
Yeah, that's the thing about doing the toughest. Dallas or Las Vegas as a team, but finding partners is hard because no one's doing those races. So.
Tyler Nash told me he is running Vegas as part of a team. Tyler's one of the only guys to get 50 at an 8-hour toughest. Yeah.
Oh yeah. Yeah, he did that in Chicago, chasing Atkins, didn't he?
So last year was one of the worst weather conditions for World's Toughest, and you still got 100 miles. How do you think you will do this year with hopefully better weather?
100's the goal. If I get 105, that'd be great. But I think 100 is possible. As long as I can stay good on the obstacles. The obstacles, they usually break me near the end. Not first start to fail.
When you say they break you?
I can keep... Yeah, when my grip starts to fail, that's when I slow down, but I can usually keep running through anything. I don't care if it's snowing, I'll keep moving.
How many miles a week do you train leading up to Worlds?
Before Worlds, I like to hit the 70-mile-a-week marker. Those are mountain miles, so that's about 10 to 13 hours of running a week. That's my magic number. I find if I go above that, I do more harm than good. But I usually probably average 50 a week throughout the year.
What do you think about that 125-mile bib they keep trotting out every year? Do you think that will ever be one?
I have to take away the obstacles. But I don't know. But what's the world record for 24 hours of running? Isn't like it's like 180 miles or something.
Yeah, I think that's on a flat track.
Yeah.
Ideal conditions, no obstacles, just running level.
Yeah, it's throwing the obstacles, the wetsuit. Yeah, the hills. Yeah, I don't think it'll ever happen. Atkins nearly killed him. He's the best ever, and he nearly killed himself running 110. So, I mean, he could have gone out for 115, but I don't think he'll ever get higher than 115. But, amazing stuff happens all the time. So,
there's a lot of people that haven't finished on a podium that may finish on a podium this year, and you're going to be competing against them. If you had to give someone advice, someone like Javier Escobar or Joshua Reed, that they've been close but not there yet, what advice would you give guys like that?
Maybe start slower. Most people start really fast. It's a long race. You look at people's lap times and they really drop off a lot. Like mine do too, but mine still stay pretty consistent. Like I maybe start around a 45-minute, 50-minute lap, but it slows down to 75 at the slowest. Except for some years I'll hit a 90-minute lap here and there when I have bad laps, but I'd say just start easier.
When you're doing the sprint lap at the beginning, you say start slow, but during the sprint lap when the obstacles are closed, do you go for it then, or do you still keep that slower pace?
I mean, I don't sprint, but I'm running where I feel comfortable, like a 7:30 pace, 8-minute mile around there. Like comfortably hard.
So that first 5-mile lap takes you 35, 40 minutes?
I don't think I've ever done it in less than 40 minutes, that first lap. Like I said, I take it pretty easy, like 8-minute mile.
What do your pit stops look like when you're running 100 miles?
30 seconds, grab something to drink it, grab a bite to eat, go. Last year, since it was so cold, I stayed in the pits a lot more. My pit was going out and heating water for me, so every time I came in, I could pour hot water on my hands and down my wetsuit. So I stayed in the pits a little bit longer this year. But in warmer years, I can run in and grab something to drink, a carb drink, and I go do that. I told you before I used to do a liquid diet, but last year I started eating pizza just because it was so miserably cold. I needed hot food.
What kind of pizza do you eat?
I like pepperoni. Nothing fancy, just straight up pepperoni.
Is there any particular brand or company you like?
No. I'm not partial to anyone. I like it all.
Do you remember back in the late 80s and early 90s when McDonald's served pizza?
No. They do?
It was a short-lived experiment. I did some research into it recently.
Yeah. No, I do not remember that. I grew up on fast food too, so surprised me. It was an East Coast thing.
Trevor, do you have any sponsors you're working with or anything you'd like to plug?
Yep, Go Tough as always, and then this year I'm working with Good Energy Labs. They're great. I mean, I started including those in my training a lot more. Yeah, using the gears for fuel.
Do you eat those pre-run or post-run, mid-run?
Yeah, pre, mid, post. Actually, not really so much post. I don't really want to have a gel after I finish running, but I usually will have one before it. Especially on the hard days where I want to go hard and then get go. But on easy days, I don't carry anything. I'll just train on water.
What's your favorite goo flavor?
Oh, peanut butter. Peanut butter, everything. So, and the salted caramel's good.
Trevor,
I'm more of the savory.
Oh, say again?
I'm more of the savory guy than sweet.
Trevor, how can people find you on social media?
My handle for Instagram is my name, Trevor Cichosz, and then same on Facebook. And then I have a blog, grandpowder.org, where you can keep up with all my little adventures with you.
Groundpounder.org. Trevor, any last thoughts? World's toughest mudder? Being a champion?
I'm excited for it. I got to redeem myself from last year. So I'll see you guys all there.
Redeem yourself. You got second place in 100 miles. There's not a lot of redemption needed, man.
I lost the lead in the last lap.
How was that? It was pretty epic that they caught that on video. Chris passing you, you kind of encouraging him. Tell me about that pass real quick.
Yeah, so I don't know, I had a 20-minute lead going on that last lap, and my crew's like, "You're gaining on you fast, so you need to run this lap." But like I said, I couldn't breathe. I was coughing up blood, so I was like, "I'm just gonna walk. I don't care if he passes me. Like I don't want to die. Not worth it." So, but I wanted 100 miles, so I was like, "I'm just gonna walk for this last lap." I really wanted to quit, but yeah, Deanna came out and helped me just keep moving because everything told me to stop. I wanted to stop, but I had to do that last lap. So I was happy that he won, and he earned it. He worked hard, so I was proud of him. I wasn't bummed out at all. I was happy for him. But now I'm like, oh crap, I could have won the race twice. And I had money that year. I thought I really cared, but still, so whatever. If I win this year, I'll be just as happy as if I would have won in a year. So I'm looking forward to it.
You're probably the favorite going in this year. Does that change anything for you?
No, just a little pressure on it. I like it.
You like the pressure?
Yeah. Yeah, because I had a lot of pressure on me in 2016, and it turned out pretty good. So
the year you won?
Yeah, that was the year I won.
Is it worse finishing you finished second before you finished first, and then you finished first. 2015 you finished second, 2016 you finished first. Is it?
Yeah.
What's it like finishing second after you've already had the taste of victory?
Not so bad. Because I put everything out there, I had nothing left to give. If Chris had a knife and he was trying to kill me, I'd probably just let him kill me. So I was done.
Sometimes, when you finish running World's Toughest Mudder, a 12-year-old girl could come up and knock you over and steal your wallet, and there's nothing you could do about it.
Yeah, exactly. That's how I feel right now. Actually, I just finished riding my bike across Oregon, and it's a little harder than I thought it was going to be.
How many miles is that?
Like 370 or something.
Is this part of a race or just a personal challenge?
Just for fun, yeah. I've never done it, so it's a nice coastal route on the 101, so I follow that.
What was the elevation like?
I think around 6,000 to 9,000 a day. Not that bad. It's actually pretty easy ride. But 10 hours on a bike, it hurts.
Yeah, how does your butt feel?
It hurts. Yeah. The worst is my hip. I crashed on the last day when I ran my hip, so we'll see how Dallas goes. I might just go and fun run that one.
I don't know if you remember, but you fun ran Toughest Berlin last year when I was there.
Yep, and you beat me.
I didn't want to say it, but that's the one time I've beaten you in my life at anything, so I was very excited.
Yep. Yeah, never forget that.
Me neither.
Never forget. Yeah, that was fun.
That was a fun course. They take it very serious over there, the Germans.
Oh, yeah. Take everything serious. They're great people, though.
Trevor, I will look forward to seeing you in Dallas and at World's Toughest Mudder in Atlanta this year.
And me too. See you next week.
Sounds good. Trevor Cichosz, thanks much.
Yeah, bye, guys.
Special thanks to Trevor Cichosz for appearing in this episode. Well done, Trevor. Come back anytime. Trevor has the Champions Lifetime Pass to the podcast. Don't forget to leave a review for the show on Apple Podcasts, Amazon, and Stitcher to increase your odds of winning a sticker. 2 stickers. And hey, if you are going to watch the Spartan World Championship this weekend, you should go check out our OCR Report podcast dropping later today. Jack Bauer and I talk about Ryan Atkins and John Albin and Ray Coble and a lot of familiar names that you know from World's Toughest Mudder that will be running this weekend. I will talk with you soon. Go spend time with someone you love.